Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and I'm welcoming you back again for this next video. So last time we talked about how you Canada website and how to immigrate to Canada. So we talked about that and ways to you can immigrate to Canada, and I was able to show you the website and how you can have access to it. So today, like we were discussing, I'm going to show you how you can look at the express entry. So we're going to talk about the express entry today, and briefly, just to show you how it works and those that can apply for it, and also show you how you can check your eligibility before you proceed. So that's what we are going to do today. So without wasting much of our time, let's not forget to take 10 seconds to subscribe if you have not done so yet, like and share our video. So we are going to go to the website again. I believe we all can remember it, cic.gc.ca, and then we go to English. And then you can click on the menu here and you go to immigration and citizenship and you click on immigrate, or you can just scroll down a little bit here and then you click on immigrate. So both ways, you can click on the menu and then go to immigration and citizenship and click immigrate, or you can simply scroll down a little bit and click on immigrate. So it will take you to the same link. All right. So remember the last time we talked about how these are the ways you can, all the paths or pathways you can immigrate to Canada. So today we're going to look at express entry, not in details, but we're going to try as much as we can to try to pieces these things so that you understand exactly how this works and how you can get the information you need before you proceed. So once you click on the express entry, you'll see, you get to this link and you see all the information. Here is telling you how the express entry works. Gather the documents you need, submit your express entry profile, apply for permanent residence if you are invited, and if your application is approved, what next to do. So we're going to look at this, but before you get to gathering your documents, first thing you need to do is to find out if you actually qualify, right? So because you wouldn't just get the documents and submit without finding out if you are qualify, if you are eligible to submit those documents. So we're going to click on that, how the express entry works. We have three categories here you can apply through to the express entry. The first one is the Canadian Experience Class. The second one is the Federal Skilled Worker Program. And the third one is Federal Skilled Trades Program. So these are the three basic ways you can immigrate to Canada under the express entry class. All right. So we will be opening this and then we see what category of persons or which persons are supposed to apply for this Canadian Experience Federal Skilled or Federal Skilled Trades. So those are the things we're going to look briefly while we are doing that. But the most important thing we're going to look at today is to see if we are eligible, for any of these programs. So if you want to find out, assuming you are doing this on your own, like you want to read, I don't mean submitting the application at this time. I mean, like if you want to read and find out if you qualify, these are the steps and this is where you should be doing that. So if you click on Learn More, it will open the website for you, and then you can see how to get around this and who are qualified for any of these programs. So we're going to start with the Canadian Experience Class. So I'm going to right click on Learn More to open it in a new browser. So here is the eligibility to apply for the Canadian Experience Class. Okay, so here is the Canadian Experience Class window and who are the persons that are supposed or qualified to apply for this particular program. It says here the Canadian Experience Class is for skilled workers who have Canadian work experience and want to become permanent residents. So basically the Canadian experience class, let me try to simplify it. It's talking about persons residing in Canada. These, and they are skilled workers. These are the persons that can apply for the Canadian experience class, just like the name goes, Canadian experience class. So persons like, for example, you moved into Canada or you came to Canada as a student, and then after graduating, you have the opportunity to work in Canada, then maybe temporarily, then you qualify to apply for this as a skilled worker. You qualify to apply for this. So let's break it down. Say you come into Canada, you study nursing and eventually become a nurse, and you are given the papers, the work permit to work in Canada, and that's a perfect example of the Canadian experience class. Another example is if you come into Canada as a temporary worker, and at this time you are given um, the work permit to work in Canada. Yes, this qualifies you. It qualifies you to work in this, to apply for the permanent residence in this particular category. So that's what it means by Canadian experience class. And right here, the explanation goes there straightforward. So it's pretty direct, right? So if you scroll down, you will see other things that other the minimum requirements for you to qualify for this. But we're not going to go into that. Like I said, we just want to find out who are the persons or group of persons that qualify to apply for each class of the express entry. So that's for Canadian experience class. And if we go again and we want to see for the skilled worker program. So if we open that browser, we're going to see here, so who are those that are eligible for the federal skilled worker? So for the federal skilled worker, this program is for skilled workers with foreign work experience who want to immigrate to Canada permanently. So what this is saying about is for those working abroad that not in Canada, that they want to immigrate to Canada permanently. So you can qualify to put in your application under this program. Say, for example, you're an accountant in your country, and let's say in any country at all in the world, and you want to immigrate to Canada permanently. So as a skilled worker, as an accountant, you qualify to send in your application, or an IT specialist, or you are a medical doctor, or you're a nurse practitioner, or you are an engineer. So these are the people, the group of people that qualify for this particular program. So you must be skilled, right? Not skilled trade, but skilled. So the way you can look at it is jobs that require university certificates. So those are the skilled workers they are talking about. And those are the ones that qualify to put in their application for this particular program. And then the last one, which is the federal skilled trades. If we open it again, we see here. So it says the federal skilled trades program is for skilled workers who want to become permanent resident based on being qualified in a skilled trade. So basically, these are for skilled trade workers. For example, welders, mechanics, electricians, bricklayers, carpenters, plumbers. So these are the category of people that are qualified to apply for permanent resident under this particular program because they are skilled trade, not skilled workers. So these are the some people, misunderstand this, but if you pay attention, you will understand the difference. So skilled trades and skilled workers. So those are two separate things. So what this express entry does is to help us to categorize people who want to apply under this express entry. So based on your resume, based on what your job description is, based on what your work is, your job title will be able to tell, okay, you fall into the category of skilled worker or you fall into the category of skilled trades. And for Canadian experience class, we all see what that means. So basically, technically for the Canadian experience class is for those working in Canada temporarily and want to get their permanent residence. So you have to be in Canada to, to apply for this particular job position. For this particular immigration process. So these are basically what it's all about in the express entry. Hopefully I will be able to make videos in the future about each and every one of these programs. I believe I'll be able to do that. So that's it for the express entry. And then for the main thing for the day, which is how to find out if you are eligible. So if you want to find out in the first place that, okay, maybe you are a federal skilled worker, so you have the skills to work, or you're an accountant, okay, I fall into this category, but let me find out my eligibility. How, am I qualified to send in my application for this particular express entry class? So there are two ways you can do this. First is to the immigration persons or government of Canada has given us a way or a tool that we can check and see if we actually qualify. And also you can go through, like we saw here, if you read through all this, you'll be able to tell if you are qualified to apply for this immigration process. So you can read through this. That's the second part of this. So where it says read the detailed requirements for each program. So here are the requirements, the detailed requirements. So you can read through this and then you'll be able to tell, okay, yeah, I'm qualified or I'm not qualified. Each class has its own requirements. So, but we're not going to go into that for now. When I'll be making the videos for each of these programs, I'll be able to go through that once again. So I would like us to go with answering a few questions, which is the first part of the eligibility, and then see if we meet the process. So I'm going to open this also in a new window. Let me close these ones. We don't need them anymore. Okay, so here we go. So do you want to come to Canada as a skilled immigrant? So that's the one I chose here. So once you click here, it says, do you want to live permanently in Canada and work in a skilled job? Answer a few questions to find out if you might be able to apply under express entry. Okay, there are 3 immigration programs under express entry, and each has different requirements. You will need about 10 to 15 minutes to fill out this form. You will be asked questions about your nationality, your age, language ability, family members, education, work experience, details on any job offer. So let's go ahead there. So click on check eligibility. Okay, it's not asking you which province or territory do you plan to live in. Okay, if you don't know yet, choose the province or territory you are most interested in. So click on the drop-down menu. Let's say, okay, I want to live in, let me say, Prince Edward Island, for example. So I'm going to choose that. I click on next. So Canadian official language tests are English and French. You need to submit your language test results for all programs under express entry. Even if English or French is your first language, which language test did you take for the first official language? So here, you can, if you are bilingual, you can take both the English and the French language test, okay? But if not, then you can take whichever take the language test based on your first language, either French or English. But again, if you're bilingual, I will recommend that you take both language tests. That will boost your score. So for the English, it's generally the IELTS, the IELTS language test. Don't forget that you will be scored on the 4 parts of the test, which is writing, reading, listening, and speaking. These are the 4 categories of the language test. So IELTS is for the English speaking people. I think CELPIP is for French, and no, sorry, TEF is for French. Yeah, IELTS is the general, one that most people know about. So I'm going to go with that, and I will select next. One more thing I would like to mention about the language test is it expires after 2 years. So if you take the language test, you have 2 years. Otherwise, you have to write it again. So you select that, and it says, what date did you take this test? So again, like I said, it's within 2 years. So I'm going to say 2022, let's say October 2022. And I can just say on the 10th, select any date there. Next. By the way, I'll be putting the link to this particular, I will put in the link in the description of the channel or the video so that you can check that out yourself. Okay, so find out if you are eligible to apply, enter the test score. So the minimum requirement is 7.0. I believe we can check that real quick. So let's see here what the minimum requirement is. So that's why it's best for you to have access to this stuff so that you'll be able to take a quick look and see what exactly is going on. So language, language ability. We are valid for 2 years. Yeah, get a minimum score, let's see. Yeah, so CLB, CLB means Canadian Language Benchmark. So it's 7. Perfect, there we go. So it's 7, and the French too is 7. So okay, back to the page. So the minimum is 7. What that means is that's the minimum requirement for you. If you get 6.5, that is not going to work. You're not meeting the minimum requirement. But if you get 7 and above, that's better for you. So the more you score, the more chances you have. And I will also like to mention that the language test is one of the categories where you can increase your chances. So let's say if you score 7.5 or 7.0, which is the minimum, and you take another test, you score 9.5, it's increasing your points and granting you more chances to qualify. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to select here. Let's say I go with the minimum, the base, which is 7. That's for the speaking. The listening, I go with 7 as well. The reading, 7. And the writing, 7. So I'm just putting this is the minimum requirement. Next. Do you have any other language results? Which language test did you take for your second official language? So let me say, okay, you did take TEF, the language test for TEF. And then we go again, which is the French. And I'm putting, let's say you took it sometime 2022, let's say in November, let's say November 5th. And then we go. Okay, all right, let's leave it at, let's say you scored between 280 to 229, 297. Okay, here again. And let's say here is about around 250. And here as well, let's say you have around 250. And then you click on next. Oops, what happened? You have not completed unbounded resident. Oh, sorry, okay. So let's say, yeah, you have around 250, which is here. And then we go to next. Okay, so it says in the last 3 years, how many years of skilled work experience do you have in Canada? It must have been full-time. Okay, remember you've not been in Canada before, you are applying from your country, and then no, none. And then during this period, which tier of the National Occupation Classification NOC is most of the experiencing? So what this means is the tier of National Occupation Classification is based on every job description has its own category. We'll also talk about those tiers of National Occupation Classification. So your job must meet the criteria of the National Classification of Occupation of Canada. All right, without looking more on that, so let's say the category 0 falls into the managerial positions, and category B, category 1 will fall into university degrees jobs. So let's select that. Let's go to the tier category 1, for example. Then we'll go to next. And then, by the way, if you don't understand what that really means, you can always go to your to the requirements and find out exactly what that means. So if you go back to more here, and then you click on skilled work experience. So here we have the skilled work experience. If you click on the National Occupation Classification, you'll be able to see all the tiers they're talking about. So yeah, so that's the tier 0, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, and tier 5. So these are the ways the jobs or your job positions are classified. So like I said, the tier 0 are for management positions. Okay, so that's it. So that's managers, basically. That's for the tier 0. Then tier 1 occupants that usually require a university degree. So that's what I was trying to explain. And tier 2 are for college diplomas, like 2 years diplomas, 3 years, 1 year, apprenticeship, 2 years or more. Okay. Then the tier 3 are diplomas that are less than 2 years. Okay. And tier 4 are basically for high school, like secondary school. That's what it means. And tier 5 says that occupations that usually need short-term work demonstration, non-formal education. So yeah, this is the way it's categorized. Okay, so the one we are going with is the one that has university degree. So that was why I wanted to clarify that. Okay, so it says again here, in the last 10 years, how many years of work experience do you have? Okay, in the last 10 years. So this is basically, it must have been continuous paid full-time or equal or an equal amount in part-time and in only one occupation. So you must have been in a particular occupation for the past 10 years. Okay. In the last 10 years, how many years of that work experience have you had? Say, let's say you're an accountant. So in the past 10 years, have you remained as an accountant? If so, how many years work experience do you have within the past 10 years? Okay. All right. So we're going to put, remember, the higher you put here, the more. So I'm going to go with the higher. So let's say 6 years or more. So for the past 10 years, you've been an accountant for the past 6 years. Okay. If you are not sure of the NOC for your job, you can find your NOC page. So that was what I was trying to show here. So that was what I was trying to show here. Okay. So you can search with the NOC code, or you can go with the 72. So this is 72, okay? All these are 72. So that's what it's saying here, beginning with 72. So these are the NOC codes and occupation codes beginning with 72. So under 72, we have contractors and supervisors, machining, metal formation, shaping, erecting, all that. So all these are codes with 72. So the more if you go front, you see it. So these are all the jobs they're talking about. Okay. And if you go to 73, I think that was it. Yeah, 73. So there we go with 73. All right. So these are just the, so it says in the last 5 years, do you have at least 2 years of experience in one of the following qualified trade occupations? Okay, so I don't know if an accountant, for example, will have that. So if you have it, add it. If you don't have it, just select none. Okay, but again, understand that the more you have it, the more you have those things that the government wants, the more chances you stand to qualify. So here I'm going to say no. Now click next. Then it says, how much money in Canadian dollars will you bring to Canada? So you have to check. So here you have to be very careful when you're selecting these options, because there are requirements to this. If you're bringing less money than what the Canadian government is asking for based on your family size, you might be losing some points and may not be qualified. But you have to bring at least the minimum they are requesting or more. So if you go back to here, sorry, where was that? No, not this, not this, not this. Let me see if I can find that. If you go back to the skilled workers program and you go to proof of fund, that's where you'll be able to find how much you can come to Canada based on the number of your family. So if we right click and open that, so proof of fund. So you must show that you have enough money for you and your family to settle. So if you click here, it will bring you, scroll all the way bottom to the bottom here, it will bring you to this window where it tells you the number of family you have. Based on that, this is the amount of money you should be bringing, okay? Those are this little information you have to pay attention to. So it says this table shows the minimum amount you need to immigrate to Canada as of June 9th, 2022. If you have more money, you should list the full amount in your profile or application. So if it's just you, there's the amount. If it's you and your spouse, or you and your son, or you and your daughter, just 2 persons in the family, that's the amount you have to prove. If it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that is. So if you're more than 7, let's say you're 9, for example. So for the 8th member of the family, you have to have an additional this. Okay, so that's it. For each additional family member, that's what you add to it. All right, so it will be this plus another of it if you have more than 8. So that's what they are saying here. So if we go back to here, that's what you have to put here. So let's assume that it's only you, for example. Sorry, no, here. So let's assume it's only you, for example. You can put this, okay? Because the minimum requirement for it is $13,310 Canadian dollars. So that's it. So you can put that. If you have more, fine. But once you meet the minimum requirement, you're good. How many family members you have based on this amount is just you alone. So let's go to the next. Do you have a valid job offer in Canada? So if you have a job offer in Canada, you can say yes. That boosts your chances of being selected very, very much. So if you click yes, fine. But if you don't, let's go with no. I'm assuming you don't have any job offer. So let's go with that. And then click on next. What is your date of birth? So you have to select your date of birth. Let me go with, let's say 1990, January 1st, 1990, okay? What is the highest level of education for which you have earned a Canadian degree, diploma or certificate, or have had an educational credential assessment? Okay, so what educational credential assessment means is that for you to send in your certificates, your transcripts, so that the educational assessment here will evaluate it and see if it meets the minimum or meets the standard of that of Canada. So yeah, that's what that means. So you have to do that if you're thinking of coming to Canada. All right, so if you did not earn the Canadian degree, diploma, or certificate, you may need to have if you did not earn a degree, a Canadian degree, diploma, or certificate, you may need to have your foreign education assessed by an agency approved by Immigration, Refugees, Citizenship Canada. So you have to do that. Have you done that? What's the level of education? Let's say you have, let's say you have a master's degree, okay? Let's go with that. So you have a master's degree on this. So based on what you have, that's what you select. Again, the higher your education, the more chances you have. So let's go with master's. And we click on next. Okay, so here it says check all that apply. I have studied full-time in Canada for 2 years or more. If you have clicked on it, I have at least 1 year of full-time work experience in Canada. Okay, I have a relative in Canada who is 18 years or older, a citizen or permanent resident, and is my parent, child, grandparent, siblings, aunt, uncle, niece, or nephew. So if you have any of these, then you select that. Otherwise, click none of the above and go to next. Okay, what is your marital status? Are you married? Yes or no? Okay, let's say you are married, for example. Okay, if you're not married, no worries. So if you click you're married, they might continue with the question and ask you if you want to include your spouse information like the education, language test, and all that. But otherwise, if you said single, where is it? Never married, single. So I'm going with that. And you click next. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so here is it. It says to apply online, you will need this personal reference code. Based on your answers, your papers, you appear to be eligible for express entry. So now when you do this, you will have this code. So you will, when you're creating your account, which all these we are going to look at, when you're creating your account, that is exactly what code you'll be using. So based on the information we provided, as you can see, it's telling you or telling us that you are eligible to apply for the express entry. Sometimes, most of the times, or many of the times, you might put all your information, be truthful about it because you need to submit those information and the immigration will definitely ask for those information. So if you put your information and you don't qualify, you go back and take a look and see, okay, where did I miss? Did I miss the years of my work experience, or do I need to write the language test to increase my chances? Remember, in this example, we chose 7. So you might say, okay, do I need to write my language test that will help me to score maybe higher point marks and qualify me the more? So this is just example of how you have to check if you are eligible before you proceed with your application. So it's very, very important that you do this step before you proceed. Okay, or you have to, go through the second step, which is reading through the qualification programs. I mean the minimum requirements to see if, which is these ones here, to see if you meet the eligibility. But for me, like I said, I prefer doing this. Yeah, I prefer doing this. So you enter the information, you get that, and you use this code. You open your account, all those things, we are going to talk about them in the future. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and you can comment as well. Ask your questions wherever you need more clarification. I would be glad to assist you with that. I'll be putting the link in the description below, and that'll be all for today. Thank you very much, and do have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and click on the notification bell as well. Bye for now.